Good morning. This is Pops. What is it? Saturday? June something or other? Let me check. June 3rd, Saturday. What time? Just for the fun of it. 10:05. I'm running really late today. Just wanted to come on here because I was thinking of something when I did a live on Facebook, usually long-winded, fun type of thing. Diagnostics. You're working with something electronic. Excuse me. 'Tis the season. And you're looking for diagnosis. You walk up to a machine and say, all right, what am I thinking of? Oh yeah, your map sensor, manifold absolute pressure, manifold air pressure, depending on how people read it. I've heard it both ways. Say it's your map sensor, manifold air pressure. All right, you get a code that something's wrong with that reading from the map sensor. What do you do? Now, I'm talking diesels, and you people with the gas cars, it is similar, same idea. What's the first thing that you can do? Well, you're going to do the appropriate thing. You're going to walk in there, the code comes up, you're reading the code, you're having a grand old time fumbling with fingers and such, and what to do to research the code and going through all of that. May I make a suggestion before you do all of that? Cummins used to have what they called a change of state test that was an immediate one because we had a lot of trouble with manifold air pressure sensors and boost pressure sensors. They're considered the same thing depending on who you talk to. And then later on with DPF systems, you had mass air sensors to go with that. Well, that was a mess. But to just say it's the manifold air pressure, some call it manifold absolute, and just like I was saying, boost sensor. Sometimes there's two separate ones, whichever. But you want to check the sensor. Maybe it's your oil pressure sensor that says there's a circuit problem. What's the first test you can do? Where's the problem in the circuit? Walk up to the sensor and unplug it. This means you have to find it. Now, some of you are going to go back in and look at your specifications, the voltage and the pressure readings and all that. You're going to check the gradient, and you can do that if you're one of those that's a techno geek. But when you're in my category, the old guys, the hands-on type. Now, trust me, I'll sit in the seat sometimes and go through those numbers to tell me when I pull that plug what might be going on. So you've got manifold air pressure sensor, boost pressure sensor, whichever you want to call it. You're going to walk in there. Yes, I know. There's also the ambient air pressure sensor. So either one of them, pick one, because usually they both go with regularity, because the one is air pressure and temperature on some machines, and you need to know that. But, and some are separate, some are together. But just say manifold, walk up to the plug, and pull it. Now you can do it with the key off, pull it and turn the key on, see what changes. Or you've got the key on, you've gone through all your codes, yank that thing there and pull it. Then see if another code pops up that says open circuit. If it does, then you have an idea that most likely, 3/4 probability, your percentages are pretty high, that from there back to the controller is working properly. It's not a guarantee, but it's a pretty good shot beyond 50-50 that from that connector all the way back is good. Now, how do you test it from there? Well, that's an interesting one as well. But you can plug the thing back in and then start doing your wire wiggle test. See if the code goes away. If that second code goes away, then you've got a pretty good idea, and you get another count on your first code, then you've got a pretty good idea that the problem is in the sensor or that connector itself. So you're whittled down to just this general area. You're going to say, well, it might be in, well, it could be in the rest of the harness. You don't know that yet. But you can then, if you want to be certain of it, take your test light, put it across the two. If you have an old-fashioned test light, it may show up as a short. Change your code, changing state again. And the controller will take care of that, and you have the test light for resistance, you see. Now, wait a minute. LED will do the same thing. Any path that comes across that, it's going to say, there's a problem here. And you're going to say, well, yeah, but you don't want this. Well, trust me. If the controller's going to blow because something's grounded, it's an old one. Because normally they just shut the system off. How do I know that? A lot of injectors and other circuits, they get shut off when there's a problem in there. But still, if you're concerned about it, well, then take your own meter out, disconnect it from the controller side or whatever connectors are in between, and start whittling that circuit down. But start right here at your sensor first. Some of the sensors you can check direct, but not too many of them. And the other one is you can pull the rascal out. See, put it in a vacuum cleaner, suck it. You know, there's a lot of things you can do to do some general testings. But that's the first one, change of state testing. You walk in, it has a code that tells you your sensor reading is bad, out of range. Okay, pull the plug. Does it say it's disconnected? If it does, then you've got a pretty good idea that that sensor is most likely the problem, and you can save yourself a whopping lot of time. See ya.